Time is flying by. Let's see how our Maritimes team, Camelia and Brookdale Gia, are doing 3 weeks into the competition.
First hack. We're doing it alone. Can't steer with one hand, I guess. She's taken traffic super well. Yeah, she's being really great. Cars passing, bicycles, motorcycles. Nothing's phased her yet. We're just walking down the road. Sorry for the shaky video. That's all for now. Alright, so I just wanted to share a little bit about what we've been getting up to. She's still doing super well. She's not as body sore this week as she was last week, which is really great because that means I can start adding some more workload onto her and help progress things a little bit faster. So that's going well. I'm really pleased about that. I took her out on her first hack. We ended up going alone and I wanted to take a nice little steady Eddie with us, but it didn't line up. So I just took her out and she did really well. She took everything in stride and didn't give me any trouble. She got sticky a couple times, but I just clucked her on and steered and she got right through it, so couldn't really ask for anything better than that. But we stuck to the road. The actual trails that we have access to are really rocky, so I'm gonna wait until, and there's a lot of uphill, like steep uphill, so I'm gonna wait until I get her front shoes on before we brave that, because I don't want to cause her any setbacks, because we're already a third of the way through the challenge and we've still got a lot of stuff to get done before the end. So I'm already feeling the stress. Yeah, so I'm glad that the body soreness is going away. I've been lunging her out in our cross-country field to expose her to some small inviting logs. And she's doing really well. She's got a cute little jump on her. At first it was a little wonky, but now that she's figured out that both hinds have to push off the ground at the same time, she's doing way better. That was a little bit of a learning curve for her. But now that she's got it, she tucks those two front legs up and has a nice little shape over the fences, or I guess logs. But yeah, so that's good. We also have started, I've cantered her twice under saddle. Her canter on the lunge has been coming along nicely. And she's learning to relax into it a little bit and fall into, she's allowing her legs to swing through more. And not locking up through her body. So the canter's coming along really nicely. So I was riding her out in the big field, cross-country field the other day, and in a moment of bravery, I asked her for the canter. And she did it. I mean, it was all over the damn place, but I'm probably not supposed to swear, but it was all over the place, but she did it. If she gets, like, if she doesn't pull her legs through fast enough and she gets, like, stuck in her canter, she'll throw in, like, a little cute little buck. And then she just continues on, and she's like, oh well, that was just a little mistake. No one saw that. But yeah, she recovers through it and she just keeps going. So that's fine until she builds up strength. I don't really care about that. So she did that maybe twice in the field, but we just kept going and got through, and yeah. And then she moves a little bit better out in the bigger space right now. So I was trying to ride her as much outside as possible. And then this last ride, I did not get outside fast enough, so we had to ride inside. But yeah, we've been working through trot poles to try and get her a little bit more aware of her feet, because if she's going to figure out how to jump a course of 8 jumps anytime soon, she's going to have to be really careful so that we both don't die. She's a really good girl, but she needs to figure out where her feet are before we jump anything. Which is why I'm lunging her over the jumps all the time, just to get her kind of really figuring it out on her own before I add the weight of a rider, and she has to figure out a new balance with the added weight of a rider. But no, she's figuring it out. I think we'll be fine. It's just not rushing her too much, because I don't want her to lose confidence. She's being really brave to everything. She's taking everything in stride, and I don't want to shake her confidence, because we frankly don't have time to build it back up again. So, but yeah, so I canted her in the indoor, and same thing, she doesn't move out quite as freely inside as she does in the field. And kind of the same thing. She's getting really good with the kiss.
We are incredibly thankful to Manitoulin Resort for their generous sponsorship of the 2024 Reinventing Racehorses competition. Their support, kindness, and generosity is what makes this inaugural competition able to come to life on your screens. This family-friendly resort has something for everyone, so be sure to book your reservation by calling 705-859-3550.
To cue a canter on the lunge, but she's still at the point right now that under saddle, when I kiss, she's like, oh, are you sure? Are we both gonna die if I do this? So she rushes around for a couple seconds, and then she falls into it. And then of course she's still figuring out her balance, so she did throw in one of her little, she got a little locked up in her hind end, so she threw in a little buck, and then that seemed to kick-start her hind end again, and she cantered off. So yeah, she's doing well. Yeah. Yeah. Oh god, what else was I supposed to talk about? Yeah, I mean, she's progressing really well. I'm happy with it. Like, every time, all I'm really looking for, because we have like such a short amount of time to pack everything into, is I'm really just looking for her to retain the information from one training session to another, so that we're not having to retrain things 100 times. And she's doing really well. Like, I have to, obviously I've got to clarify things with her. But if I ask her to do it in one session, next time I ask her, she's like, oh yeah, I remember that. We'll get it done. So she's super smart. Yeah, she did go into heat a couple days ago. And holy, she's different in heat. She's not mean, but she does not want to accept any direction from me when she's in heat. I'm asking her to back up and she's like, absolutely not.
I'm trying to keep
This
it
is
as
not
still
something I
as
do.
I can and not cut your head
It's
off.
like, okay, well, gotta do it still. But, so, yeah, hopefully it's, she's not nasty, she's not nothing, she just, every time she sees a gelding, she decides she has to freeze and pee, even when we're trying to go places, but that's alright.
Oh.
Well, we're keeping on going. But she's super awesome. Someone's gonna have a really nice horse at the end of this, but yeah. Yeah, so, and I think that's really like what drew me to this challenge is when I train horses, I like to take things really slowly to allow the horse to really be super confident and comfortable with everything before we move on or add difficulty to an exercise. And usually that takes more than 60 days for me.
No.
So I wanted to see how it would happen in 60 days. But, I mean, I think depending on the horse you've got, that might be pretty tough. Like, thankfully they have a background, these ex-race horses, so it's not like being thrown into the ocean or anything to drown, but so, and I've been blessed with Brooke, who is really fairly easygoing, so she's making this as painless as possible. So yeah, it's very fun so far to see like how far because this is really out of my comfort zone. I like to really take my time, but this mare, she picks things up so fast that I'm able to push her out of her comfort zone a little bit without her confidence being shaken and us having to take a bunch of steps back and rebuild, right? So that's been good. Yeah, I think we're a third of the way through and I'm a little bit worried about how we're gonna pull this all together, but I mean, she's taken the foundation of the training really well. Now it's just getting her a little bit stronger so that I can start to ask her to balance more, so that we can start adding transitions and making things
there.
more seamless. Transitions and bending, and I want to be able to start to add some contact to her, so that we can try to shape it into a dressage test, and then try and do a course of 8 jumps. I mean, it's gonna be, like, that's a lot to pack into 60 days. But I'm trying not to rush that too much. I want to get her understanding of my aids really good before I throw anything too complicated at her. Because with the time limit of 60 days, if her confidence gets shaken, we're gonna have a really hard time. So I'm trying to keep everything as easy and as positive for her as
Cat
possible.
probably didn't help.
And yeah, she's awesome. She's doing really well. So hopefully we'll be doing a bunch more hacking now that she's not so body sore. And once we get the shoes on. And I'm hoping that he'll work, and doing a little bit of, and then now that we're able to ride out in the field, doing some long trotting and things like that, and pole work, and basically just doing everything is gonna help her. Yeah, so that's all for this week. We'll see.
Wow, these two are looking absolutely fantastic. Did anyone remember that Brookdale Gia is pacing Bread? Because that trot of hers under saddle is absolutely stunning. We cannot wait to see what this pair gets up to in our next update.